Okay, so first thing is the biggest fitna, which is a testing period in history, is associated with Dajjal. It's reported in Sahih Muslim 809a that whoever knows the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf will be protected from Dajjal. And if you don't know, Surah Al-Kahf is 18th surah, and the first 10 verses are as follows. All praise is due to Allah, who has sent down upon his servant the book and has not made therein any deviance. He has made it straight to warn of severe punishment from him and to give good tidings to the believers who do righteous deeds, that they will have a good reward, in which they will remain forever, and to warn those who say Allah has taken a son. They have no knowledge of it, nor had their fathers. Grave is the word that comes out of their mouths. They speak not except a lie. Then perhaps you would kill yourself through grief over them, O Muhammad, if they do not believe in this message, and out of sorrow. Indeed, we have made that which is on earth adornment for it, that we may test them as to which of them is best indeed. And indeed, we will make that which is upon it into a barren ground. Or have you thought that the companions of the cave and the inscription were among our signs a wonder? Mention when the youths retreated to the cave and said, Our Lord, grant us from yourself mercy and prepare us from our affair right guidance. Dajjal will also be blind with one eye, and the Prophet Muhammad referred to Dajjal as Al-Awar, which means blind with one eye. The Prophet Muhammad also said that Dajjal's right eye would look like a floating grape, and his left eye will be defective in some way also. When it comes to the Dajjal's hair, it's cited in the Sahih al-Bukhari 3439, as well as in Ibn Majah 4071, which are collections of Islamic traditions. It said that the Prophet Muhammad narrated a fact about Dajjal's appearance, that he will have very curly hair, as well as he'll have lots of hair. I think of Medusa when I hear lots of hair and like crazy looking eyes. The Prophet Muhammad also said that the word kafir would be written on his eyebrows and forehead, and a believer of Allah can spot this easily. This is cited in Sahih Muslim 2933b. And in Sahih Muslim 2934b, it is stated that even an uneducated person would be able to see this and read it. Dajjal also won't be able to enter the cities of Medina and Mecca. It's mentioned in Shah Muslim 2943 that Dajjal, just can't enter into these cities, as well as other hadiths have stated this fact. In Sahih al-Bukhari 7134, it says that the Prophet said, he will come to Medina and find the angels guarding it. So Allah willing, neither Dajjal nor plague will be able to come near it. Sahih al-Bukhari 7125 mentions that Medina will have 7 gates at that time, and 2 angels will be guarding every single gate. So if Dajjal even thinks about coming, the angels just knock him out. Okay guys, so one of the scariest things about Dajjal is that he will have the power to bring the dead people back to life. So according to Sahih al-Bukhari 1882, Dajjal will have so much power that he'll be able to end somebody's life and then make that same person come back to life. Just imagine seeing that. That would be so trippy. I'm calm. Okay. Anyways, it's also stated in Sahih Muslim 2440 that the Prophet Muhammad said Dajjal also will be followed by 70,000 Jews. So he's gonna have a Jewish army. Apparently those people are gonna be completely deceived. There's also mention of water and fire associated with Dajjal. In Sahih al-Bukhari 7130, it says that Dajjal will come with fire and water. Now what would seem to be water will actually be fire, and what looks like fire is actually going to be water. Is that symbolic of something? The next thing is that the Prophet Muhammad said that there will be a small number of Arabs in those days because they're going to run away from Dajjal and seek protection. And that's found in Sahih Muslim 2945a. And the final thing I want to share in relation to Dajjal is that Isa is the one that's going to kill Dajjal after he's sent by Allah back to the earth. So the Prophet Isa, which is the Arabic name for Jesus, is gonna kill Dajjal at Bab el-Lud in Israel, and this is found in Jami Tirmidhi 2244. So according to Muslim scholars, there are 3 aspects of the Dajjal. There's Dajjal, the individual, then there's Dajjal as a worldwide social and cultural phenomenon, then there's Dajjal as an unseen force. Now, according to the opinions of scholars, the second and third aspects of Dajjal will be established before Dajjal, the individual, actually appears on this earth. So he'll be here when the support system that he really needs is all in place throughout the world. Dajjal will also be a man of Jewish descent. Now, he's not a jinn or some other type of creature or anything like that. Ubadah, the son of Samit, who is a companion of the Prophet Muhammad, once said this: "I have explained Dajjal to you, but I fear that you might not have understood. Masih Dajjal will be short and his legs will be crooked. He'll also come in the time of Mahdi, after Mahdi succeeds in overcoming the forces of the other nations and sets up his kingdom to rule. This will be a time when justice will be spread throughout the earth." So when you see that, that's an indication that Dajjal is coming soon. Also in the Sahih Muslim hadith, Antichrist, known as Dajjal in Islam, was already a form for some time. He was chained up on an island and awaited by an animal whose name is Al-Jassasa, aka the beast of the earth. The Dajjal or Antichrist was already there, and he waited days to be allowed by God to get out and explore the rest of the earth. Also, Jabir ibn Abdullah, who's also a companion of the Prophet Muhammad, had said this: "The Dajjal will appear at the end of time, when religion is taken lightly. He'll have 40 spiritual days, about 1.25 years in actuality," and this is according to many scholars. Now, continuing the quote, "In which to travel throughout the earth. One of these days will be like a year, another will be like a month, a third will be like a week, and the rest will be like normal days. He will be riding a donkey," which scholars interpret as some sort of jet, because it's said that the width between its ears will be 40 cubits, so this is understood to be a representation of wings. Dajjal is also described in the hadith as having many eyes on both sides, as well as traveling around the world very quickly. Among other descriptions of the Dajjal, you'll find that the Dajjal can be heard all around the world at the exact same time. Dajjal will also talk about the fire, Jahannam, which is equivalent to hell, and make it seem like the garden, Jannah, which is equivalent to heaven. He'll be proclaiming justice, but he will do a lot of injustice. And he'll proclaim peace, but he's going to be doing the opposite of peace. So basically, he's going to be doing exactly the opposite of what he says, hence the term Dajjal, which also can translate to the deceiver. So his name apparently is Abdullah, son of Siyatid or Siyadid. The exact pronunciation is still up for debate though, and his title that's going to be given is Al-Masih al-Dajjal, meaning the false Messiah. However, he's going to also claim to be divine, so he in a sense is going to be a false deity as well. Another thing to note is that the hadith of Hadrat Asma, who is a daughter of Yazid, narrates the following: "The Messenger of Allah once came to my house, and there he spoke about Dajjal. He said that before the emergence of Dajjal, there will be 3 spells of drought. In 1 year, the skies will withhold 1/3 of its rain, causing the earth to withhold 1/3 of its produce. In the 2nd year, the skies will withhold 2/3 of its rains, causing the earth to withhold 2/3 of its produce. In the 3rd year, the skies will withhold all its water, and there will be no crops that year. All animals, be they hooved or toothed, will pass away as a result." And the final thing to share about Dajjal is that it's also mentioned that the greatest evil of Dajjal will be to approach people and then he asks them this question: "If I bring your camel back to life, will you then believe that I am your Rabb?" And by the way, Rabb is an Arabic word for Lord. And this person will reply, "Most certainly." After that, Shaitan, which are comparable to evil spirits in English, will appear before this person in the form of his camel, so the person is going to think that the camel came back to life. Likewise, Dajjal will appear before another person whose father and brother have long passed away and ask, "If I bring your father and your brother back to life, will you believe that I am your Rabb?" Then the person will reply, "Why not?" So then Shaitan will once again take the form and the appearance of that brother and the father.
Dajjal makes his entry. There are a couple of signs of the appearance of Dajjal. In one of the hadiths that was narrated by Ibn Majah, it talks about how the Holy Prophet said that before the arrival of Dajjal, there will be 3 years of famine. In the first year, Allah will command the skies to withhold a third of its rain and the earth to withhold a third of its produce. In the second year, Allah will command the skies to withhold 2/3 of its rain and the earth to withhold 2/3 of its produce. In the third year, Allah will command the sky to withhold all of its rain and it will not rain a single drop of rain. He will command the earth to withhold all of its produce. During this time, no plants will grow. It's kind of hard to imagine how to live in this situation. Moving on to number 9. A very interesting description that the Holy Prophet gave about Dajjal is that there would be the word kafir written in the center of the forehead near the eyes. If you guys don't know, basically what a kafir means, it means non-believer. Anyone who's a believer of Allah will be able to clearly see the words and recognize that it's Dajjal. In the Sahih Muslim book, there is another hadith that mentions how even the illiterate people will be able to read the word kafir on his forehead. Moving on to number 8, a lot of people were really curious about the appearance of Dajjal. So especially during the time of the Holy Prophet, a lot of people wanted more descriptive appearance and the Holy Prophet gave a very detailed description. He said that Dajjal would be blind in one eye and called him Al-Anwar, which means one with blind one eye. In detail, he said that Dajjal's right eye will be like a floating grape. It'll be shaking so it wouldn't be like in a fixed position. In a couple of hadiths, the Holy Prophet gave a small description of Dajjal's hair. In Sahih Bukhari as well as Sunnah Ibn Majah, which are the books containing Islamic tradition and hadiths, it says that the Holy Prophet described Dajjal's hair to be long and curly, so thick that it'll pretty much look like snakes hanging from his head. Isn't that interesting? So one of the scariest things, but yet one of the most interesting things about Dajjal is the fact that he has the power to bring anyone back from the dead. One of the hadiths that was narrated by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri in Sahih Bukhari 1882, it mentions how a man will walk up to him and Dajjal will ask the people that, "If I kill this man and bring him back to life, will you doubt my claims?" And so it says that he will be killing the man and bringing him back to life and trying to get more people to believe that he's the Messiah. Moving on to number 5. No matter how powerful he seems, he won't be able to enter the city of Mecca and Medina despite of how much he tries. This is mentioned in a couple of hadiths. So in the Sahih Bukhari 7134, it says that the Holy Prophet said, "The Dajjal will come to Medina and find the angels guarding it. So Allah is willing, neither Dajjal nor plague will be able to come near it." There was another hadith that I found in Sahih al-Bukhari 7125 that mentions how there will be 2 angels guarding each of the 7 gates of Medina. So moving on to number 4, it was reported that Dajjal will have something to do with water and fire. In the Sahih al-Bukhari 7130, it mentions that whatever seems like water will actually seem like fire, and in the same way, whatever seems like fire will seem like cold water. So moving on to number 3. So Dajjal is basically the biggest fitna in history. In short, basically what fitna means is it's an Arabic word for a testing period. It mentions in Sahih Muslim 809a that if anyone learns by heart the 10 verses of the Surah Al-Kahf, then they will be protected from Dajjal. If you guys don't know, Surah Al-Kahf is the 18th surah in the Quran. Another interesting thing that was mentioned in Sahih Al-Bukhari 3337 is that all the prophets warn the people about Dajjal and its fitna. Because he's the biggest fitna, a lot of people actually pray that, they never encounter this guy. Moving on to number 2, it is also stated in the Sahih Muslim 2944 that the Holy Prophet, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that Dajjal will be followed by 70,000 Jews. The Arabic word that was translated to mean 70,000 was often also used a word to describe a large number of people or things. So this hadith could mean that there will be exactly 70,000 followers, or it's referring to a large number of people or groups. So moving on to the final fact of this episode is that Prophet Isa will be the one to take down the big bad Dajjal. So Prophet Isa, who's also known as Jesus in Christianity, will be the one to kill Dajjal at Bab-e-Lud, which is in Israel. And this was mentioned in Jami al-Tirmidhi 2244.
10. There's going to be a period of 3 years of drought and famine. The hadith of Hadrat Asma, who is the daughter of Yazid, he narrates the following. The Messenger of Allah once came to my house and there he spoke about Dajjal. He said that before the emergence of Dajjal, there will be 3 spells of drought. In 1 year, the skies will withhold 1/3 of its rains, causing the earth to withhold 1/3 of its produce. In the 2nd year, the skies will withhold 2/3 of its rain, causing the earth to withhold 2/3 of its produce. In the 3rd year, the skies will withhold all its rain, and there will be no crops that year. All animals, be they hooved or toothed, will pass away as a result. No animals, nothing. What? That is pretty scary. Now, at number 9, we have Dajjal will do the opposite. So let me break it down for you. Dajjal will talk about the fire, or Jahannam, known as hell, and make it seem like it is the garden, or Jannah, which is known as heaven. And he's going to proclaim justice, but he's going to pursue injustice. He's also going to proclaim peace, but he's going to pursue the complete opposite of peace. Pretty much everything that he proclaims, he is going to do the opposite. But it's said that a lot of people are going to be deceived by these blatant lies. Now let's talk a little bit about the appearance of the Dajjal, like what's Dajjal going to look like. It's believed that Dajjal is going to be blind in one eye. People have always been curious about the appearance of Dajjal, even during the time of the Prophet Muhammad. A lot of people wanted, just some more descriptions of what he's gonna look like, what's his appearance gonna be like. So the Prophet Muhammad, he gave some detailed descriptions. And in one of the hadith, it records that the Prophet Muhammad said that Dajjal would be blind in one eye, and he called him Al-Anwar, which means one with a blind eye. He also said that Dajjal's right eye would look like a floating grape. So it's going to be shaking, it's not too firm, it's not going to be in a fixed position or anything. Number 7 brings us another physical description of Dajjal, and that's about Dajjal's hair. It's cited in Sahih al-Bukhari, number 3439, page 344, as well as in Majah 4071, which are both collections of Islamic traditions known as hadith. And according to those, the Prophet Muhammad said that Dajjal's appearance when it comes to his hair is going to be very curly, as well as he's going to have a whole lot of hair. It's even reported that it'll be so thick that it almost looks like there's snakes coming out of his head. Kind of reminds me of Medusa from Greek mythology. I'm not gonna lie, when I was researching this fact, but she had like literal snakes in her hair though, and anybody that looked at them would turn to stone. I don't think Dajjal has that ability though, according to Islam. Either way though, it sounds like the sky is gonna look pretty scary. Next up, let's talk about fire and water. It's believed that Dajjal will have something to do with fire and water. It's a little bit ambiguous, not 100% clear, but according to Sahih al-Bukhari number 7130, it's mentioned that whatever seems like water will actually be fire, and in the same way, whatever seems like fire will be water. The scary belief at number 5 is Dajjal bringing animals back to life. It's also mentioned that when people asked about Dajjal, this is what was said to them. Dajjal is going to say this: if I bring your camel back to life, will you then believe that I'm your Lord? Then the person will say, yes, of course, but the shaitan, also known as jinn, will appear before the person in the form of his camel, for example. So it's going to look like the animal was brought back to life, and they already admitted that, hey, if this person does this, they're going to say that, oh my God, you are my Lord. And that's how Dajjal is going to gain a lot of followers. Number 4, though, this is also very similar, bringing people back from the dead. And this is one of the scariest things about Dajjal, is that he's going to apparently have the power to bring people back to life. According to the hadith Sahih al-Bukhari number 1882, Dajjal will have enough power to end someone's life and then also make that person come back to life. But not exactly though. More accurately, Muslims believe that Dajjal will apparently end somebody's life and then also apparently bring them back to life. What actually is going to happen is that there will be evil jinn that work under the power of Dajjal that take the form of people who have passed away, and then they're going to come back to life, and a lot of people are going to be deceived because of this. There's also the belief of the multiple aspects of Dajjal, and this is according to many Muslim scholars. There's actually not one aspect aspect of Dajjal, not even two, but there's a total of 3 different aspects of Dajjal. The first aspect is the individual Dajjal, which we've been talking about in this episode. Then there's also going to be Dajjal as a worldwide social and cultural aspect. Then the third part is going to be Dajjal as an unseen force. Now, according to scholars, the second and third aspect of Dajjal will be established before the Dajjal individual is going to come on the scene. So it's believed that Dajjal is going to come on the scene when the system that is going to support him is in place all around the world. According to the Hadith Sahih Muslim 809a, that whoever knows the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf will be protected from Dajjal. The belief at number 2 is that there's going to be the greatest testing period in all of humanity. This is known as the biggest fitna in all of history, is linked to the appearance of Dajjal. So this is going to be a time where people are going to go through a lot of testing their faith. They're going to experience a lot of pain, a lot of sadness, a lot of temptation that are going to shake the very core of their being. But like I mentioned in number 3, those who know Surah Al-Kahf, which is the 18th surah of the Quran, they got nothing to worry about. And the final belief about Dajjal that is pretty scary is Jabir ibn Abdullah, who is a companion of the Prophet Muhammad. He said these words. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The Dajjal will appear at the end of time when religion is taken lightly. He will have 40 spiritual days," which according to scholars is 1.25 years in actuality, "in which to travel throughout the earth. One of these days will be like a year, another will be like a month, and a third will be like a week, and the rest will be like normal days. He will be riding a donkey," which scholars interpret to be some sort of jet or another mode of transportation, because it's said that the width between the ears will be 40 cubits. So this is understood to be the distance measured between the wings. Also, Dajjal is described in the Hadith as having many eyes on both sides and being able to travel the world very, very, very quickly. This is why it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to actually be on a literal donkey. Donkey just probably refers to a mode of transportation, because you can't travel that fast on a donkey. And finally, Dajjal can be heard all around the world at the very same time. And on that note, that ends this episode. I want to know what you guys think down below in the comment section about anything else that I shared, or if you hold any other beliefs, let me know down below. Join in on the conversation. And that's it for me. I'm gonna go work on the next set of videos for you guys. Until next time, stay awesome, stay educated, and I'll see you really, really soon.